what's going on YouTube? I know the stream's up. Okay, awesome. I got it updated on my end, and we're going up on the Facebook too. All systems check, all systems go. Yeah, good morning world, good morning Coin Observatory. How's everybody doing this morning? How you guys doing? Drop me a comment, let me know. I'm gonna start off talking about indices today. They're doing, they're selling off. I was expecting them to kind of turn back around. Tech's looking fairly ugly. It could get really ugly. It could, right? I was looking at charts like MSTR, MicroStrategy, and it looks like it could just dump. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll look into that, and then surprisingly, it looks like altcoin BTC pairs are rallying, right? And that's probably the only alt season I like to trade, and I've been a lot more. What's going on, Abdul? I've been a lot more active. Good morning, Kanj. Doing good, man. So yeah, that's the alt season I like to trade is the BTC pair one, right? Because you got this kind of concise bottom and some really good extensions and pops off, and if all USD is rallying, but they're coming down in terms of BTC, I don't like to trade on. So we're gonna look at that too. Starting off on the S&P. So last week I had signaled a long down here, right on the 61.8. Let's go in like an hourly time frame. All right, I said this should be bottom because it's 61.8, and we got that reaction I wanted, but we just couldn't rally higher. Couldn't keep extending upwards. And that's going to be problematic. We're probably going to get another test of 379. Hopefully to hold. In terms of formation, this is still looking like a descending broadening wedge, right? But it's problematic. The count on it doesn't line up, and that's why I got really worried yesterday, because we don't have like a true 5 count, because this right here, which would be the 2, it's right on line. Let me go ahead and kind of draw it out, right? So on your descending broadening wedges, you want a 5 count, and if this was the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your 4 shouldn't retrace back to where the 2 was, right? So it invalidates this count. So we'll see how this progresses. Let's look at the I'm gonna look at the NQ futures and Nasdaq futures. And so what I'm seeing, you've probably seen this, you probably see it without even having to draw it out, is this head and shoulders formation. But I've tried to trade these before, and they really never play out, right? Like, I can't tell you how many times I've tried to short Nasdaq head and shoulders, and it's never real, right? It never is. Well, maybe this time it's different, but I don't know why it would be different. Like, everything came back, all tech came back with good earnings and good guidance, so I don't understand why this one's gonna be different, right? That being said, last night right before the close, we were still like up here. I signaled, said, hey, we're gonna open a hedge just in case on the SQQQ. Let me show some examples of like head and shoulders that didn't really play out. That was before this year. I mean, this one kind of did, right? But it took a while to actually play out. I think it's the only one that actually did, though. Like, you have these previous ones that did not. They just don't like to play along. Are we in for a big correction? I don't know. I'll look at charts like MSTR, right? And it looks like it could really tap into some liquidity. Like, if this trend line fails, it could be in for a big mess. That's what I think, right? And I tweeted at Sailor yesterday. I'm like, hey, what would you do if your stock goes down to 280 bucks? I mean, this thing just pumped up like crazy, not because the company's doing good, because you bought a bunch of Bitcoin, right? And if you go to the daily, like going back to 289, I mean, I would long it at 289, right? But if this breaks, I think that's eventually where we're gonna go. It's gonna hunt liquidity. And that's not going to be good for the S&P. Let's look at Tesla. I mean, for the QQQ. Tesla's looking like, it's still pulling back. Remove drawings. And let's look at the 240. Let's find the first 61.8 retrace, right, before we get real bearish on this one. As you can see, I've got an alert right there at 577. So do you think 577 is likely? We should see a bounce off here, right? We should. Ideally, right? Unless it's gonna, I don't think we're gonna go to 237 on Tesla. I don't think we're gonna do that. I just don't see a reason to, right? I don't think we're in for a big correction. I might be wrong. Looking at the QQQ itself, it is starting to break back down. The next support's going to be 305, right? That's from previous fib levels. It was resistance up here. Hopefully you guys can see that. And now, we should see it act as support. There's also some like fib extensions down here too, right? So at this point, I would close out the hedge that we opened yesterday and leverage to the long side. Let's look at the SPY again. But like, ironically, the Dow Jones is rallying right now. I never trade the Dow, I don't trade the Dow, but like, you look at stocks like Boeing that are in the Dow and they're actually rallying. I think a good long, right, would be at this like back at 371, right? I mean, if we hit 371, I'll pump some money into like 379 calls, like pretty fast too, because I think we're gonna get a really good bounce off there. All right, let's hop into like let's look at BTC. We did get a bounce, right? Are we gonna get continuation? Is it a dead cat? We'll see. I had longs on this triangle and it broke down, and then I got stopped out on that long. But spot, I did add spot Litecoin, and I will show you why shortly right after this chart. Bitcoin did it 61.8. It hit the 61.8. If we get a secondary rejection of 30 or 52,590, if we do something like this and reject, I'll probably hedge a short and expect like a deeper correction out of BTC. LTC, why am I like so heavy in the Litecoin right now? Okay, that's not my wick. I didn't cause that. Let's look at Litecoin ETH, and let's go to the daily. So still waiting on this formation to play out, right? I think we can realistically, the next target, and it's looking really bullish on LTC ETH, more bullish than LTC BTC, right? I think we can go up to 0.16, and if we start extending, we can pretty much 2x 3x ether returns, going to 2.4 would be the second target. So it's kind of, I'm still eyeballing this to play out. Looking for 164 as well as 0.26, right? So what I think that's going to do is it's going to be LTC rallying harder than Ether in terms of USD and harder than BTC in terms of USD. That's what I think is going to happen. This kind of happens at the end of a cycle. We saw something very similar happen here, and this was January 2019, right, when we had this break and then it kind of stopped. So I think we're in for something very similar, right? Even like the pre-breakdown looks like a fractal, right? So that's one reason I'm still LTC maximalist-ish right now. And then let's talk about alts, right? We had a big bump on Raven. I still have some of my Ravens. You guys show me, what's up, Pi? You guys show me some tickers. If it's cryptos, make sure to list the pair BTC or pair USD so I know which one you want me to look at, so I'm not going back and forth just to satisfy one person. So Raven did good, right? We got in at like 0.17, 0.2. If we go back down to 12 cents, I'm gonna buy more, depending on like what volume does, right? But I do want to see this get a second leg. I was showing some Raven charts to the VIPs yesterday, and it's rarely ever a single leg up, right? Unless it's like one of these, but I doubt this is that. Like in terms of an Elliott wave, this is this big one. I mean, you probably had a 5 count here, but this big one's a 1 because it broke above all these previous highs, right? So this is our 2. The 3 should be the long leg. So I'm still expecting a second leg out of Raven. Most of our other runs on Raven have been multi-leg. So first leg, second, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one was kind of not a 5 count, not a real 5 count, but we had 2 extra legs after the initial run. I'd like to see something similar happen. I'm going to set an alert for 292 because the last signal I posted probably got stopped out just now, and that will be our next entry. So let me just do that real quick. All right, Derek Bruno, Oracle, BSR. All right, let's look at Oracle. This chart's looking pretty good, man. Let me go back and... It looks like it's in a channel. I don't know if it's gonna break out. I don't know what they've been doing. They've been doing anything exciting on Oracle that I should know about? I mean, I wouldn't expect much breakout from here. I just wouldn't right now. Maybe it's just me, unless something's like heavily oversold, but this looks like it should start topping off. Let me throw some fibs on it because I'm not a big fan of channels. And I think, if you get 69, that's a good sell, man. And just kind of wait patiently, see what happens. Let's look at ETH/USD. So past few weeks I've been saying, hey, like I'm very wary of Ether right now just because we have listed futures. And let's see what it's doing, right? I think Litecoin's gonna kick Ether's butt in the near term. I just think it will. Did we 61.8 off this last high? We haven't yet. What about this one? Maybe. I mean, in terms of a swing, if we get a push up to 17.5 and it stops and then it comes back down, I would stay away until it does something like, and I'll show you. That's what I'm waiting for, Ether. Let's look at like SI1. So anytime a future has hit the CME, right, it's never good initially until we see this formation, right? I want to see Ether do something similar. Let's do like ETH1. What the? Maybe on even like a 4-hour hasn't done it, right? So I want to see Ether do something like silver did, because every time we've seen any kind of future get listed, like, and I'll show you this. Look at silver now. I'm gonna pull up BTC futures when they got listed. And let's go to the daily. Right, it's almost like the irrefutable CME futures pattern, right? Every single futures contract that got listed that's like a commodity did the same thing. So it's kind of what I'm waiting for on Ether. All right, You got a message held for review. Man, what are you doing? I can't see it. All right. Let's look at PSR USD. I don't know what that is. RSR, sorry. Jeez, man. So that to me looks like chasing or profit taking time. The reason I'm not trading altcoins based on USD value, I'm not entering them based on that, is because they all look like I'm chasing, right? I'm gonna look at this on a BTC pair just to get us an idea. So it hasn't even broken out on BTC, right? And that's what I was talking about earlier in the stream, is we might see some pretty nice extensions up if you're trading BTC pairs, right? So I mean, ideally you want to see this coin hit like 191, ideally, if you're gonna get some kind of all season. But right now it's struggling at 133, right? So it's not above this 61.8. Until it does that, we're not gonna see 191. And that's why I'm looking at, that's why when I'm trading coins, like when I signaled mana, I didn't signal mana based on the USD chart, I signaled mana based on the BTC chart, right? And now, are we above the 61.8? We are, right? So now I'm expecting continuation. We got into this thing at like 585. We're up some 40% in just in a few days. All right, so yeah, 50% right now. And if you zoom out, you know, my next target on mana is the bigger 61, right? And that's what I'm saying. There's a little bit of an alt season coming. And that's why I'm not looking at the USD pair, because it's not going to give me those clean like entries, because everything's just been pumping. So let's look at, I'm just going to continue my point before I look at another pair. Look at mana USD. It just looks like we're chasing, you know? And I don't want to be the guy buying here. I want to be the guy buying here on the BTC chart, and just that's why I'm looking at BTC pairs. Psychologically, you don't want to chase, but if there's that swing on BTC, you're probably going to get that swing on USD as well. Just you're going to get more concise targets, and yeah. All right. Let's look at RGT. I'm gonna look at the BTC pair. Sorry, man. It's not even a thing. I don't even know what that is. RGT. It's not even on TradingView. Okay. DOR USD. Man, you guys, what kind of tokens y'all coming up with? XTZ. So Tezos, I do have a XTZ BTC position, right? 393 is good support, right? So we should see some kind of move back to a 61.8, which is what some of the market's doing. 4.6. You should go up to 4.6. Let's look at the BTC chart, see if we get like a clear variable. So XTZ BTC Binance. Yeah, we can probably get that rally, right? We can probably get to that target and then maybe a little higher, right? So like I'll go back to my mana example. If you guys are in VIP, you look at altcoin discussion. I do have a second mana USD target, right? And it kind of lines up with the BTC target too. I think Tezos should get up to 977, right? I think it's like a 20-30% swing from here. But it's all about volume, right? It's all about volume right now. Whether volume's going to come in, push your chart up or not, because nothing's going to move without volume. I will. I covered LTC ETH, which should give us an idea of what LTC BTC should do. I'm going to cover ENJ real quick, and I'll cover Litecoin BTC. ENJ. Guys, if I'm covering your coin, go ahead and smash that like button while we're all still here. Jeez, this thing's flying. That's awesome. Okay. I think 1.69 is the next target. 1.73, right? You guys can see that. Yeah. So I'll give you a snapshot of possible extensions. And 1.7. I don't know how you guys are treating these, but don't fall in love with your token, man. Make sure you're scaling out. I'm not saying sell all, but you don't make anything until you sell, right? That's what engine looks like. I'm not saying it's going to $9, but I'm not saying it's not. Let's look at ENJ BTC just to get some kind of confirmation of what's possible. And it looks like it's doing like a major 61.8, right? Because it's gonna hit resistance. Whether it hits resistance on USD or BTC, looks like 40.80 is the next target. So if it stops rallying at 40.80, right? If it stops doing that, that's in 30%, right? And we're just looking for like charts for confluence, and let's look at like ENJ USD. Auto, and just to give you like the next target where it could possibly top just based off the BTC chart. Is there a 35% up extension here? It's 12. Maybe it doesn't line up, right? Maybe I'm missing something. But that would be like the next critical resistance in terms of BTC. So that should help you decide what you do. All right. Adam, cover said LTC BTC next. I mean, you're still oversold, looking almost terrible. But like, if you look at RBI, I was actually showcasing RBI in like alt discussion yesterday. Man, we're starting to get that. You want to see that like entanglement, right, with the momentum, and it's bouncing off the longer term oscillators. So we should start seeing a pretty big leg up. It's literally still in this falling wedge of a formation. It's taken forever to get going. Maybe that's a good thing, right? Maybe that's a good thing. But the reason I like it is because it's A, it's still oversold, and B, it looks like it's ready to like go 2 to 3x on Ether. And it's still like, maybe I don't like that wedge bottom, but I like it from here, right? So I mean, this has been building up, a lot of momentum, just pushing down. We saw it try to break out so many times and it failed. So I mean, if anything, this looks like that Raven coin, right? Like, and you're gonna see this now. Okay, no, it was the RVN USD chart, right? It just failed to break out so many times. There's a right, and this was like a descending broadening wedge. But if we look at this before this big breakout and we go to log, this was just like a descending broadening wedge that just took forever to break out, right? We had so many false breaks, but when it eventually did, right, look what happened. So I'm not saying Litecoin's going to be as explosive, but the longer these things build up, the more false breaks we get. In my opinion, it's just ready to make a big move. And then I think the LTC ETH chart just gives me that extra validation to be very LTC heavy right now. And I've never actually positioned myself LTC heavy. Right, this to me, this setup looks like this setup from here. All right, I'm not saying we're going to 0.4, but what I'm saying is we're going to go to 0.16 and we're going 0.2 if we get above 0.16. Jeez. It doesn't want to do that. Whatever. Shit. Okay. Alright, let's look at Flow BUSD. Oh my goodness. Holy shit, man, this thing's ripping. Okay, let's look at like I can't even get a target. Maybe I can. Let me do a 4 hour and we'll just go off that last range. This looks like not uni, but YFI, like round 2. Jeez. I think 48, 56, right? 48 is the next target, 56 the following. That's definitely a possibility, right? I think from here it should keep moving up. I think that's totally what's gonna happen next. Atom USD. You got a lagger, man. Actually, it doesn't look half bad. You see the fractal there? Is it just me? You see what's happening? It's probably maybe a good time to add or hop in. I just don't like these wicks. I can't. I'm gonna exclude them. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if it's fair to. Let's include it. Let's see what's going on. No, we should include it because you see those the 61.8 is proper. It failed twice. You know, I think if it does like push down, so the 61.8 should hold based on like what I was seeing. Like, hey, you see the fractal. Kind of does like a rounding bottom and it breaks above the 61 and chops a bit before making that leg up. So as long as like 20 bucks holds, we should get a push to 31, maybe 33, 36 and further. But this is looking good, man. This is looking good. It's a good pullback because it's pulling back to retest previous resistance, which is a 61.8. If it holds above, it looks good. I'm gonna set me an alert over here. Anyone know how to make that alert like this? I'll show you. How do you make this be warned go away? Make that warning go away. Yeah, it does look cup and handle-esque. I won't even call it cup and handle. Yeah, maybe. Has it done it before? Let's go to the daily. Nah. Nope. But I mean, usually when you see these things kind of repeat, it's nice. I covered Flow. You bet, Paris. Thank you. Frito, you're welcome. Thank you. You guys smash that like button. Facebook, everybody, YouTube, keep smashing it. I'll go BTC. I don't know what this thing's doing, man. There's one way to find out. Just keep fibbing until you get that 61.8 and the break. So, I mean, if we're getting like a market-wide rally, not if you select tokens rallying, if we're getting something like that, I'd say like 238 and 2387 actually, like, should be the next move. And if we get a close above, then maybe like a push to 26, maybe a run up to 31, right? And that would be like a good sell if it's going in for a swing. I'm not gonna look at ADA because ADA is totally a shit coin, and it should be worth 0. So okay, SRM. Sorry. I'm gonna look at the BTC chart on this one. Sorry guys, I'm picky. This kind of looks like chasing at this point, I think. What's it doing? What's it really doing? No, not quite. What about previous? Can't get a 61.8 to line up. How about this? I got a better idea. Let's do a retracement, right? Like, based off this breakout, how we pulling back 61.8 or more or less or 50? It looks like possibly 61. Yeah, man, this thing looks like it could continue further up. It just needs to close above like 10.888. Is that the right amount of 8? So I need another 8 in there. This needs to close above here, and you should be good to go. And the next target, I mean, you'd probably want to go for like previous high, maybe up here. Let's look at ADA. I don't even know. I mean, is there anything active on ADA? It's just like pure spec. It's pure speculation, man. ADA should not be worth $1.14. It shouldn't be worth $1. And that being said, it looks like it's gonna go $1.50, maybe. I wouldn't keep buying up here, right? Like, I mean, I'd be looking to scale out. Like the good dips were like 12 cents, right? You see it coming up and then finding fib support. 15 cents was a good entry. Is this thing gonna break? There's a little nice sexy trend line here. And yeah. So if this goes, then you see 95. If 95 goes, maybe 57. Okay, I covered it. Smash that like button since I covered your ADA and I said I wouldn't. FTT. Your FTT is monster, man. I think it's the next BNB totally. Like in terms of long term, yeah, it's above 0.6. This is gonna keep pushing up, I think. It doesn't like to compete with BTC. So when BTC USD pairs running, you kind of want to scale back on your FTT. And when BTC starts pulling back, that's when you go heavy on FTT. That's just what we've noticed. It hedges really well. I think it was COVID crash that it did like these massive moves. So it's like an early stage BNB. Jeez, no, it's like a mid-stage BNB. It's right up to 30, 31. There's only like 2 extensions left. I think it's ready for a pullback. You know, and yeah, when things start getting like real moony, you know, that's when we kind of start seeing a little bit of pullback. All right, we're running out of targets, man, on FTT. All right. Let's look at like Apple, man. I've got an Apple position. This looks like it's going to shit. Jeez. I think All right, I'll cover VET, and that'll be the last altcoin. You guys show me some stocks. But VET's going to be the last altcoin. Because we do trade stocks too, right? So, but I mean, right now, it looks like the opportunity for like bigger returns is an alt, right? And that's why we have exposure to both markets. Because for a while, like, yes, alts USD were going up, but alts BTC were eating shit or going sideways, and that makes no sense to like make all these extra clicks for no reason, right? But now that we're getting these BTC rallies, it's like you get an exponential gain. So VET needs to close above 117. It just needs to before going higher. Uni. Let's see, we didn't alienate the crypto crowd. While we traded a bunch of stocks. You guys need to do that too. If you're not diversifying, if you don't have exposure to like both markets, and sometimes you're just gonna be sitting there and not making money, right? It doesn't make sense to trade just one market. You want to like trade opportunity. That's what we call it. You need to get above 31. For now, 31 is resistance, 27 support, 20 is BTFD. Alright, fam bam, thank you for tuning in. Smash the like button if you haven't. Click the link, join Discord if you're not in there. I'll be in there all day, every day, Monday through Monday. And yeah, catch you guys in Discord. Thanks for tuning in.